Hello, learners. Welcome once again for a very important topic which talks about governance, e governance, and rather we can say the electronic governance. I think we all have heard about the term called e governance in our day to day activity. We see that how the government used to function, how the government used to execute. But when exactly, we used to talk about e governance, I think there is a very important aspect because we are moving from conventional mode to online mode, and government is also changing themselves. We have seen in our preceding sessions that how the commerce is replaced by e-commerce, but now what we observe that governance is also very important. And if you want to reach to the people who are unreached, I think the role of online is quite important, and it's matter a lot. So taking into consideration the today discussion talks more about the e-governance, and we see that how this electronic governance is making the things ease of doing and helpful to government to reach to the unreached. So if we talk about the present session, what we are going to cover in this session, that is talking about the rationale behind the e-governance, operating principles, delivery mechanism, output, impact, and outcomes. This is more important because what mechanism, what pedagogy, what modus operandi, the government is following in order to connect with their citizens, with their country people. I think mechanism is very important because the country like India, which is hugely populated, and the people are blended in nature. They are in rural areas, they are in urban areas, they are in the suburbs. So what exactly important is that what mechanism you are going to make, what the rocket science the government is going to develop, so that we are in touch with the customers and facilitate them. So prior to going into the depth of this e-governance, I think I'm going to talk what exactly the e-governance is. So e-governance, simply defined, is leveraging ICT solutions for transforming the reach and quality of the government services delivery to citizens. It is being increasingly viewed as an enabler and facilitator of good governance. We are going to talk more about the good governance in a separate session in a more elaborative manner, and we will dedicatedly talk about that what exactly the good governance means, because there is a term called good governance and there is a term called bad governance. So good governance is something which is no doubt combination of the conventional approach, which we usually call the governance, and the e-governance. But end of the day, what matter is that how you're going to serve the citizens of your country in a more appropriate manner. So aim of e-governance is to improve the quality, cost, accessibility, and speed of delivering government information and services. So this is more important, and how much we are accessible. So make government more accountable, and accountability is there by increasing the opportunity for citizen participation in the governance process. We have seen that there was a time when people have to go for huge queue and to get their work done. Either it could be the license, or making of the Aadhaar card, or making some amendments in the Aadhaar card, the passport seva, and lot of other activity which the government used to run. But right now you find out that majority of things are available online. You just go to the portal of mygov.in, and then you can fill the information, and your voter ID, your Aadhaar card, your PAN card, or your passport, your driving license, or whatever the services government used to do, like pension yojana, or some in this pandemic stage, the government is giving those who have passed away due to COVID, they are the handsome amount, or the lump sum amount is given. So all those things are going to be governed through online mode. So what I mean to say that this is a beauty of the e-governance, and e-governance is gaining considerable momentum in India, with several high impact projects being implemented in both government to citizens, which we usually call G2C, and government to business, which we usually call G2B domains, across central ministries and state departments. So what I mean to say that in our coming discussion, we will talk about the various ways of the model the government is going to do, that is government to citizens, government to business. And then so electronic governance or e-governance is the application of IT for delivering government services, exchange of information, communication transaction, integration of various standalone systems between government to citizens, government to business, government, government to employees. And there are certain, things which the government to government used to do, like the central government have certain schemes which need to be routed through state government. So now the interaction is between the government to government, that the central government, pass on the certain schemes to the state government, and then state governments are the driving force behind interaction with the citizens of that particular state. So this is a deal between the government to government model. So government to employee is also there, where central government employees are there, the facility they used to take, or the things which are there, so as well as back office process and interaction with the entire government framework. So through e-governance, government systems are made available to citizens in a convenient, efficient and transparent manner. The three main target groups that can be distinguished in government concepts are government, citizens and interest group or the businesses. So what we have observed, that when the government used to govern anything, when the government used to develop any scheme for the citizens, I think sometimes they directly go to the citizens and do that, and sometimes they have a model called PPP model, that is public-private partnership model. So when the interest group, either it could be the non-government organizations, or the self-help groups, or the cooperative societies, or the charitable organizations, so all are interrelated and do the things with that model. So in governments there are no district boundaries, finance and support. So what is the difference between e-government and e-governance that need to be taken care? By e-government we mean the use of ICT in government operations as a tool to increase the outreach of the government services to general public. E-governance, on the other hand, implies the use of ICT in transforming and supporting functions and structures of the system. So that is more important, because with the help of technology we are going to transform. Distinction from e-government: although the two terms are often used interchangeably, there is a difference between e-governance and e-government. E-government refers to the use of the ICT in public administration, which when combined with organizational change and new skills are intended to improve public services and democratic process and to strengthen support to the public. However, e-government has no provision for governance of ICT. The governance of ICT typically requires a substantial increase in regulation and policy making capabilities, as well as additional expertise and opinion shaping process among various social stakeholders. The perspective of e-governance is the use of technologies that both help to govern and have to be governed. I think this is a USP behind the e-governance, is that technology is very important ingredient, is a very important aspect, because it's not only facilitate the government to do, but sometimes try to recapitulate that where the government is lacking and in which domain they have to work more. So central government of e-government governance is to reach the beneficiary and to ensure that their services needs are met. Ideally, the government will automatically recognize the importance of achieving this goal in order to maximize its efficiency. Furthermore, e-government uses one-way communication protocol, whereas e-governance uses two-way communication protocol. That is a very good important aspect. Establishing the identity of the end beneficiary is a challenge in all citizen-centric services. Statistically, information published by government and global bodies do not always reveal the fact. So the best form of e-governance cuts down on the unwanted interference of too many layers while delivering governmental services. So that is very true. And when the government is generating any project, any things in an electronic mode, in an online mode, somewhere the intermediaries are going to be cut short or narrowed down, so that the project can directly go to the citizens. Like there are certain schemes which are available, and if the citizens of the country fill the information or furnish all the information, I think the layers, like if the schemes are related to particular village, the Pradhan have got a very limited role, and they work as an aggregator, they work as an enabler, rather than sometimes what happen, they are the disbursement officers, but in that case they are just the aggregator or enabler, and the final amount delivered through DBT mode, that is direct bank transfer on their bank account. So it depends on good infrastructure setup with the support of local process and parameters for government to reach their citizens or end beneficiaries. A budget for planning, development, and growth can be derived from well-laid e-governance systems. So the relevance of business intelligence, or the artificial intelligence or the BI analytics, has brought forth a paradigm shift in assimilating and visualizing huge chunks of data in near real-time manner. So the pivot of all good decision-making system is correct, up-to-date and compliant data. Governments not only want the transformation of their country and countrymen, but also expect improved relations and healthy trade across the world. So development should be transformative and continuously evolving. Internal as well as external IT systems should work in tandem with government policies and procedures. Data analytics has the ability to change the color and complexion of the world. E-governance should induce up-to-date information, initiate effective interaction, and engage with transparent transactions in compliance with rule of law, thus enabling a sustainable transformational model. So what are the challenges of e-governance? I think unawareness is a major challenge in the implementation of e-governance project. And no doubt the cost is a very important aspect in developing countries like India. Cost is one of the most important obstacles in the path of implementation of e-governance, where major part of the population is living below the poverty line. I think that is somewhere because they are not connected with the digital device, they are not connected with the internet. So somewhere the issue is very important. So technology will play a critical role to create the India of tomorrow. Technology is changing at a rapid pace. Velocity of change has increased. Predictability of change has decreased. So technology for growth, if we talk about, I think enabling India as they become global enterprise, creating jobs, helping SMEs grow and stay competitive. Technology powering expansion of banking footprint and financial inclusions. So technology for government, if we talk about, I think e-enabling citizen services online by default. Government e-transaction grew from 2.41 billion in the preceding years to 5 to 6 billion in the coming years. So Aadhaar India unique ID biometric platform scaled to more than what we can say 100 crore people, and technology enabling dissemination for both citizens and business. And technology for good, if you talk about technology driving social impact and inclusion, enabling remote healthcare, empowering farmers, digital literacy, and skill development. So if we talk about the operating principles, I think governance stands for inclusive governance, which seeks to embrace rather than exclude individuals, people, and sectors in running government. And if we talk about informative openness, which demonstrates that information is power and truly empowering when placed at the hand of the citizens. Interactive engagement, if we talk about, which puts premium on information exchange through continuing dialogue between authority and constituency. Innovative management, if we talk about, which is committed to a culture of excellence sustained by creativity and innovation. So electronic governance or e-governance can be defined as a use of information and communication technology by the government to provide and facilitate government services, exchange of information, communication transaction, and integration of various standalone systems and services. So what are the 4 pillars of e-governance? So in a developing country like India, success of e-governance largely depends upon political stability, public support, and central coordination amongst various departments. So governments are connectivity, content, capacity, and capital. So if you see this government development cycle, I think we have to see that how do we know if we have been successful, and key performance indicators are regularly monitored. And when we talk about where are we now, government self-review of current governance practices. And when we talk about how will we get there, institutional governance guidelines, how good governance is implemented, and where are we going, that is governance development plan, that is clear goals, objectives. So this is a governance development cycle, and there's a difference between governance and management. So if we talk about, I think the governance emphasize more on the setting the norms, strategic vision and direction, and formulate high level goals and policies. whereas management run the organization in line with the broad goals and direction set by the governing body. If we talk about the governance, oversee management and organizational performance to ensure that the organization is working in the best interest of the stakeholders and more specifically the members who are served by the organization mission. And if you see in management perspective, implementation the decision within the context of the mission and strategic mission, make operational decisions and policies, keep the governance body informed and educated. So, governance, if you talk more about direct and oversee the management to ensure the organization is achieving the desired outcomes and to ensure that the organization is acting prudently, ethically, and legally, and be responsive to requests for additional information. Now, there is a great purpose of e-governance. E-governance expands to electronic governance, is the integration of ICT in all the purpose process with the aim of enhancing government ability to address the needs of the general public. The basic purpose of e-governance is to simply process for all, that is government, citizens, business at national, state and local levels. Promote good governance. It connotes the implementation of information technology in the government process and functions so as to cause simple, moral, accountable and transparent governments. To provide access to government services, dissemination of information, communication in a quick and efficient manner. So, what is e-governance? How it has to be realized, the vision of e-governance. The NEGP aims at improving delivery of government services to citizens and business with the following vision: make all government services accessible to the common man in his locality through common service delivery outlets and ensure efficiency, transparency and reliability of such services at affordable cost. To delivery mechanism. So, what we have seen that when we talk about the delivery mechanism, I think analog or paper-based tools are there, that is performance, pledges, citizen board, media network, digital of ICT media, that is if we talk about initiative through the city website, ICT network access improvement, that is cyber school, cyber barangays. So M-governance, if we talk about, which is one step ahead to that, and talking more about the mobile governance, because the whole world is right now, equipped with the smartphones. And when you talk about the smartphone, I think you can very easily, do the governance through the mobile manner. So e-governance is the use of information technology, WAN and internet by government agencies to make G2C services available at citizens' doorstep. M-governance is not a replacement for e-governance, rather it complements e-governance. So M-governance, on the other hand, is the use of mobile or wireless technologies like cellular phones, laptops, tablets, and PDAs with wireless internet connection to improve government services and strengthen people reach anytime, anywhere. So, if we talk about M-governance adoption, I think M-communication, which is G2C to G, M-services, transaction and payment, M-administration, and then M-democracy. So these are the new terminologies which are coming up, and which is just the new philosophy, taking into consideration the legacy approach what we have. So M-communication, if you talk about, mobile device provide an important access channel for government to reach citizens. Citizens can subscribe to SMS or email alerts for various e-services, renewal of road tax, passport renewal notification, court sitting, license renewal, exam results, security threat alerts, and emergency broadcast. So we have seen that when we are going for a toll tax, or when we are moving from one state to another state, our car is equipped with the FASTag stickers, and these FASTag stickers automatically you debit the amount the moment you cross the toll. So this is one of the very good example which is coming up, and you see that in the coming years things could be quite easy of doing, and so it is going to save the time of the citizens and the passengers, or the travelers who are moving from toll. So a lot of changes you will find out in the coming years, and this is just a very good example of electronic governance. So SMS is an effective channel for citizens to communicate with government. Citizens can text their representatives to comment and complain about government officials and services. So M administration, if you talk about, I think there are various segments where this M administration is putting its wear boots, like health, monitoring progress, telemedicine, irrigation, water resources, capturing reservoir storage, monitoring release of water through sluices, monitoring miners and some miners under a given canal, electricity board, citizen grievances, bill collection, public work monitoring. So some mobile application e-governance is food and civil supplies, like tracking lorry movement and stock at warehouses, reservoir levels monitoring, grievance redress, garbage dump removals, SMS a water tanker, rail ticket booking, examination results, and in agriculture, weather reports, market prices, seed availability. So this is the thing which is going on. And if you go more into the depth of this electronic governance, you find out that a lot of initiatives are coming from the government of this country, or Indian government, we used to say. And you find out that ease of doing is coming, and there are certain examples like the passport seva, which can transform the public sector services, and there are certain challenges which was there with the Ministry of External Affairs, and then government is there, and then how the country is there. So you see, if you talk about the challenge, I think growing demand of passports and related services, including tier 2 and tier 3 cities, need for robust governance process, large regional spread with involvement of local authorities, goal to eliminate large number of middlemen involved in this process, large process re-engineering required without disrupting the routine process flow. And what was the solution come out? That public-private partnership on Indian e-government passport seva project had come up. They have tied up with the Tata Consultancy Services, and then key services include migration of legacy records, redesign of passport centers, and implementation of straight-through processing, mobile application launched with an online payment system, central passport print facility integration with external stakeholders, police, Indian Post, and others. So impact was that technology-led transformation of passport services, innovative risk shared, and 77 passport centers rolled out with 13 million passport issued and 19,000 plus calls handled daily through contact centers supporting 17 languages. So reduction in passport delivery times to for 4 days for urgent and 45 days for regular. So this was the achievement the government had achieved with this e-governance, with this the passport seva transferring model. And it's not that it was in passport only. Integrated emergency response and management for timely emergency care. I think this is one of the sector where the e-governance is really playing a very important role, and it's having a great importance. The challenge was lack of adequate emergency response, healthcare infrastructures, delay in access to timely care resulting in high casualties, low number of healthcare facilities, and poor ambulatory facilities, delay in emergency care leading to loss of lives. And solution was end-to-end emergency management solution. Single number 108 for timely emergency medical support and care was generated. Integrated emergency management solution combining state-of-the-art technologies, multilingual contact centers, e-patients, fleet management system was developed. And then impact was that over 750 plus million population covered and 23,000 plus emergency attended daily. And this is a data which can be changed with the change of time. You will find out that rapid emergency response had come up in 160 seconds to dispatch ambulance, call pickup within 3 rings and 18 minutes to reach site. So this is which is there. And the good part is that in that lot of the public-private partnership model is coming up. And when we talk about processing of management of tax returns or income tax returns, we usually call, there also they had tied up with Infosys in a public-private partnership mode, and Ministry of Finance is governing this. And the challenge is aspiration to create a comprehensive, automated, and online system for tedious reconciliation, analysis, and correction, enabling high complex and vast scope encompassing a wide range of activities, low productivity and efficiency of current return processing systems. And when you talk about the solution, web-based tedious reconciliation, analysis, and correction enabling system traces are there, enabled complete reconciliation of collection and claim of tax reduction at source. Solution supports end-to-end, anytime, anywhere access, complete ownership of training and knowledge management solution, and this supports identification of non-core activities for outsourcing. So impact was that more than 95% ITR processed within no TDS mismatch within 3 days of receipts of TDS, more than 250 million digital TDS certificates downloaded from the past financial year, substantial reduction in processing time from 1 year to 3 days, and 100% growth in the revenue from the current assessment year. So what I mean to say that the data is maybe changing. I think maybe in the beginning stage you find out that challenge was something, that solution is this, and impact was this. So it's not like that there are certain domains where the government is coming up. The PPP model is now going to apply in various aspects because the population of India is very gigantic in huge numbers. So how they are going to connect with the citizens, with the citizen-centric services, I think somewhere they have to do that. So you see that delivery of like government of Madhya Pradesh also, they provide a one-stop shop solutions, and ultimately what happened, a lot of the kiosk and other issues had been resolved. So now the thing is that we have talked a lot about the various aspects. The citizen charter is also quite important, which can work as a ready reckoner or the guidebook on the key services being delivered by the city government to its customers, like procedures, response time, personnel responsible for each services, requirement checklist to facilitate services delivery, schedule of fee, location maps, a contract that can be enforced through feedback, provides for customer feedback from directory of city hall agencies. So government to citizen, if you talk about the goal of government to citizen, which we usually call G2C, e-governance is to offer a variety of ICT services to citizens in an efficient and economical manner, and to strengthen the relationship between government and citizens using technology. So there are several methods of G2C e-governance. Two-way communication allows citizens to instant message directly with public administrators and cast remote electronic votes and instant opening voting. So these are the examples of e-participation. Other examples included the payment of taxes and services that can be completed online or over the phone. Mundane services such as name or address changes, applying for services or grants, or transferring existing services are more convenient and no longer have to be completed face-to-face. So if you talk about implementation approach, I think a lot of the model which is coming up, we have talked about how the tax the income tax returns, or we talk about the passport seva, or we talk about the variety of ways Aadhaar services are going to be done through UID portal. So there is another way of implementation approach, that is e-Praman seva, which had been started by the government, which talks about the framework, specification and guidelines, e-Praman as services, e-Praman as pluggable authentication component. So what was the intention? The intention is very clear, that identity management, authentication, credential registration, single sign-on, website authentication, and fraud management. So if you see the pedagogy, how it works, we have seen that e-Praman authentication as a service, UIDAI, which is a driving force behind giving the services of Aadhaar, then passport, then income tax, which we call as an e-Praman identity provider. And you see that if you see the image, you find out identity repositories are there, and then verify users, then login, and then SAML request is there, then avail services, and finally you see the service provider is there. So this is a chain which is linked with all those things, where left side you have a e-Praman identity provider, then service provider, and finally the user is at the bottom. So what exactly we have extract from this, that level 1 talks about the username, and level 2 talks about certain framework, and then you see how the Aadhaar authentication ecosystem is going to be interlinked. So e-Praman value proposition, if we talk about shared infrastructure for e-authentication needs, easy onboarding, minimal change at the application level of department, saving cost, time and other resources. Value addition to Aadhaar authentication obviates the need of department, being AUA provide ASA services, centralized AUA/ASA services, PKI digital signature based authentication also included, single sign-on authentication even for mobile based delivery of services, and fraud management. So this is something. So when you talk about government employees, I think Governments to employee partnership is one of the main primary interaction the delivery model of e-governments. It is the relationship between online tools, sources and articles that help employees to maintain the communication with the government and their own companies. E-governance relationship with employees allows new learning technology in one simple place. As the computer, documents can now be stored and shared with other colleagues online, and e-governance make it possible for employees to become paperless and makes it easier for employees to send important documents back and forth to colleagues all over the world instead of having to print out these records of facts. So G2E services also include software for maintaining personal information and records of employee. Some of the benefits of G2E expansion include e-payroll, maintaining the online sources to view paychecks, pay stubs, pay bills, and keep records for tax information. E-benefits, be able to look up what benefits an employee is receiving and what benefits they have to write to. And e-training allows for new and current employees to regularly maintain the training they have through the development of new technology and to allow new employees to train and learn over new materials in one convenient location. So e-learning is another way to keep employees informed on the important materials they need to know through the use of visuals, animation, videos. It is usually a computer-based learning tool, although not always. So it is also a way for employees to learn at their own pace. Distance learning, although it can be instructor-led. So maintaining records of personal information, and G2 is an effective way to provide e-learning to the employees, bring them together and to promote knowledge sharing among them. It also gives employees the possibility of accessing information in regard to compensation and benefit policies, training and learning opportunities, and civil rights laws. G2E services also include software for maintaining personal information and records of employees. So G2E is adopted by many countries, which includes United States, Hong Kong, and New Zealand. And India is also doing a great job in this direction. So there are certain challenges which are in international position. E-governance is facing numerous challenges world over. The traditional approach for introducing e-governance is just not sufficient due to the complexity from wide variety of applications, architecture mix for both legacy and modern words that need to be brought into the purview of e-governance. These challenges are arising from administrative, legal, institutional, and technological factors. The challenge includes security drawbacks such as spoofing, tampering, repudiation, disclosure elevation of privilege, denial of services, and other cyber crimes. Other sets of problems include implementation parts such as funding, management of change, privacy, authentication, delivery of services, standardization, technology issues, and use of local language. Now, I think we have very elaborately talked about the e-governance. I think when we talk about e-commerce, we have to take into consideration, I have already talked in my preceding session that e-commerce is nothing but, a combination of a lot of electronic activity. It's not just merely, buying and selling of goods. It could be, it could be governance, which we have discussed very elaborately today. And it could be, the education, it could be, the teaching, it could be the learning, it could be the electronic services, it could be e-health. So in our session, in our coming sessions, we are going to talk more about what exactly, the e-commerce is. And e-commerce is not merely commerce, but talking more about, ease of doing, talking how best we can serve our client, our customer, our students when we talk about education, and we talk about, the governance, or when we talk about, our citizens. I think the governance is very important. So good governance is all about belief and commitment, systematic approach, leadership and synergy. Good governance is key element of the credibility, and it's critical for its ability to attract and serve members. So if good governance is a priority, resource need to be allocated. I think somewhere, the government can win the battle. So it is a very routine affair. It's a long-term affair. It's not like that you can, execute the thing at one juncture and then you can stop. It's a process which can go on in a routine manner, in a day-to-day manner. So sometimes, whatever we have done it today become obsolete tomorrow, but it's not like that we should stop working. So we have to be gradually in touch because a lot of changes are coming up. We are moving from contemporary way, we are moving from conventional way to contemporary mode, and there a lot of revamping is coming up. So So when you talk about good governance, when you talk about electronic governance, it encourages the take-up of digital technologies that are crucial to economic competitiveness. It allows government to redefine its role and become more citizen-focused. It enables us to join up information and hence govern more effectively, and it can reduce the cost while not compromising the quality of the public. So this is a guru mantra behind good governance or e-governance. We are having a dedicated sessions on good governance, which can give us an idea that how there's a difference between the e-governance and good governance, and how this good governance is going to be quite useful. Thank you very much. We have some thought-provoking sessions in coming days. Enjoy learning.